Hi, I'm Vandana Shah, and let me start by saying that it is a great honor and a privilege of mine to be invited both by BITS Pilani as well as TEDx to share my life story. And as I go through the various steps of my life journey, I hope that it will be an inspirational one, and in this audience, even if I can motivate 100, 10 or even one person to change their life, I will think that my life has been successful, and all the pain, the joy, the triumph, the losses, the sadnesses and the happinesses in my life have really been worth it. Now, where do I start from? There is so much to talk about that let me just pull out from my childhood. I had a very happy childhood. My father was an Air Force pilot and he fought wars for this country. In fact, he was a fighter pilot, and I'm so proud that he taught us from a very young age that, to be honest, you can conquer this world. I know that in India, that is not what a lot of people will tell you. But believe me, honesty is the path ahead, and it gives you a lot of courage in this journey of yours, especially when you see that, okay, you may lose in the short run, but you will definitely win in the long run, as I am seeing in my life journey. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before I jump back to my childhood. I am an award-winning author and lawyer. I have been featured in various international as well as the domestic media. I think one of my biggest joys was when the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation, decided to make a film about my work. It is called The Invisible Women of India, and it was broadcast on International Women's Day worldwide. I think that was one of my crowning glories. Also, the BBC has featured me a number of times for my work, be it talking about the triple talaq and other changes in divorce in India. So needless to say, I am really proud of those moments that I have been recognized for my work. Besides that, I have also won various awards. I have got the Karamveer Puraskar. After that, I have received a higher grade of the Karamveer Puraskar. And of course, I continue working for the downtrodden, and I do pro bono work for a lot of women in need. I am now a counsel with the National Commission for Women. I have written a couple of books. One of the books is X-Files. It has been published by Penguin under the Shobha De imprint. Shobha De is one of my icons, and I really admire both men and women who have the ability to take on the world in some manner like I have done. I have also been writing for various publications ranging from the Huffington Post to Thrive. I had contributed also to the Mumbai Mirror. I contributed to the BBC. Besides that, I have also been writing for publications like the Dainik Bhaskar, to name a few. So, where did my life journey actually begin? I believe that our life journey starts right from childhood. And like I said, my father was in the Air Force. My mother was a homemaker, and she really, really, really loved me. I really think that the unconditional love that both my parents provided to me set me about on this journey to become a victor rather than a victim. There have been so many opportunities in my life where I can, display the victim card and say, I am so traumatized. I don't think I deserve this. But like Arthur Ashe once said, that if all the good things in life have come to me and I haven't asked God, why me? Then when a bad thing happens, why do I say, why me? That has been my attitude throughout my life. I lost my parents at a very young age. Unfortunately, I lost both of them to cancer. But I continued and continued. And I think when you hear the end of my talk, you will realize that you wish you had been a part of this talk, not only as a listener, but also in carving out your own life. I went to a good college. I went to St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and I graduated with a really good percentage. And when I lost both my parents, the society pressure, how in India we are so motivated only looking at where we need to get married, when we need to get married, who will we get married to. So, after a point when I turned 21, the pressure to get married kept on building up. So eventually I went in for an arranged marriage, and I would call it a love come arranged marriage. So like a lovely arranged marriage, and I felt that, okay, now my next phase of life has started, and I'll be married, I'll have children, and then we'll see where else life will take us. Unfortunately, that was not to be. My marriage didn't turn out to be the way I had anticipated it to be. Sure, I got married in a wealthy family. Sure, on the surface, everything seemed perfect. But as you scratched a bit, you realized that things were not what they seemed. It was an abusive marriage. I would say more than the physical abuse, it is the mental abuse which really gets to you. In fact, at one stage, I had become so underconfident about myself. I felt that everything, and by everything, I mean every single thing that I say or do is wrong. I had no self-esteem. And when the physical marks were there on my body, I joke in my book, The X-Files. I say that, if MAC, which is one of the leading manufacturers of cosmetics in the world, was to manufacture a line saying for domestic abuse victims, they would make a killing with this line of makeup. The physical scars may fade, but the mental scars persist. And the abuse kept on getting worse and worse and worse. And even in that time, I must thank my husband, rather my ex-husband, for one thing. When the scars became so bad, he actually ended up changing my life. You know how? By kicking me out of the house in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. with no money and just the clothes on my back. That is how he changed my life. Because if he hadn't kicked me out, perhaps I would have still continued in that domestically abused relationship for life. So he actually gave me a new lease of life. As I went back to my old house, there was my house help. Her name is Bobby. She was a big factor in helping me to rebuild my life. When I came back, the only thing that she said was, you've come back. Wait, let me give you food to eat. Have you eaten? And I said, I don't feel like eating. She says, by starving yourself, you're not going to get anything. Wait, let me make tea for you. Do you want anything else? And just like that, I just felt so comfortable. And I felt, what? I have actually come back home and everything will be okay. And that's when the second phase of my life started. Not a phase that I had anticipated, but still it was another phase of my life. I set about to getting a new job. I went about to see how I would cope in life. You know, a lot of people keep telling me, you must be having a lot of backing for restarting your life. Should I tell you how much money I had? Make a wild guess. You can never in your wildest of dreams imagine how much I restarted my life with. With just 750 rupees. That is all the money I had. You know, that is only about $10. That's all I restarted my life with. But still I was a billionaire. You know why? Because I had dreams of billions. My dreams and my life, which is worth billions, no one could take away. They couldn't crush my soul, and my soul is worth billions. And that's when I went to this next phase of my life. That was tough. Believe me, when I talk about it now, it may seem that it all happened so smoothly. Actually, it didn't. You know, at one stage, I didn't even have money to put the food on my table. But there were people who were like angels who helped me. I speak about Bobby. I speak about a lot of my friends. And that's when I said, okay, one day at a time, one day at a time. And that is one lesson that I want to share with you all. Please take one day at a time. You may want to accomplish anything in the world. You may want to rule the world, but please take one day at a time. And you know, another lesson which I must share, even in the negative, you can find positive. Like I said, if my husband hadn't kicked me out, I would still be stuck in that horribly abusive relationship. So I got a job. After that, things started getting a little better. In fact, I got big breaks in jobs overseas, you know, and the main aim was to keep myself mentally, physically well, to put the food on the table, to have money of my own. For the next 10 years of my life, I started doing these various jobs, both in India and overseas. In the meantime, came the divorce petition. And I repeat, came the divorce petition. It was awful. So what did I do? Well, you know, when you get a divorce petition, you have to look for a divorce lawyer. I went about looking for a divorce lawyer, and I found an okay divorce lawyer to at least get me on to the next phase of my life. So like I said, I had anticipated something else, and now here I was on the third phase of my life, doing things that I never anticipated that I would. So anyways, the divorce commenced in court. Now, a third lesson that I learned. You do not, under any circumstances, let the negative overtake the positive of your life. My divorce continued, but that did not stop me from living my life. I set up India's first support group for people going through a divorce. It was called 360 Degrees Back to Life. You know why 360 degrees? Because you go through an entire circle of life. Here, you've started at 0, you come to 180, you learn, you move ahead, maybe 270, you come up to 360. You've completed an entire cycle and circle of life, and you learn. And you learn, and you learn to make your life and the lives of people around you much better. So I set up this support group. It was the only non-judgmental support group. Look, I don't want people sitting and judging me just because I'm going through a divorce. It's not the way it should be. You know, people should embrace you for what you are, instead of being quick to judge you, because judgments can really ruin lives. So hey, that was another positive which came out of a negative, which was setting up India's first support group despite going through a divorce, or maybe because of going through a divorce. And that's when the press coverage started. You know, the press coverage in a way gave me a validation which none of my relatives could, none of the people around me could, you know, because they were so busy criticizing me. So the press coverage gave me a definite validation that I was on the right track. We counseled over 10,000 people in this support group, both in one-on-one consultations, emails, phone calls, through a chain methodology, and also by giving lectures in lecture halls with 400 to 500 people at one point of time. I was so proud of this achievement, and I was so proud about what my parents had taught me, that, you know, be brave and conquer the world. After the support group and the various jobs, both India and overseas, I actually ended up seeing the whole world because my jobs took me everywhere, and I was also getting paid very well. You know, my focus shifted from the divorce case to rebuilding my life. And that is also the tagline of my support group, which is 360 degrees back to life, rebuilding lives. And that is what another life lesson I want to tell everybody. Rebuild your life, you know, because there's only one life. You can't afford to let it be scattered. I finished at another stage of my life, something again I had never ever imagined. You know, and before you know it, 10 years had passed. My divorce continued for 10 years, but I did not let it break me. In that 10 years, I ended up writing 2 books. There was one called 360 Degrees Back to Life, a litigant's humorous perspective on divorce. I ended up also translating a book for the Jain saints which is called Sanskar. I translated it from Hindi to English, and of course I wrote X-Files, and of course all the other articles that I wrote, and of course BBC made a film about my work. And can you believe it? I also started studying law. I ended up becoming India's, well, in the top 5 divorce lawyers of India. I don't know who's number 1, because all of us are number 1 in that stage and at that level. I do a lot of divorces for celebrities. I do a lot of Bollywood divorces. And you know, I also do a lot of pro bono work. So life has pretty much taken me on a totally different path of what I imagined. But it has been successful. One of the biggest things I learned was you can never ever keep a good person down. And I succeeded, and I triumphed, and I'm doing really well in life. Besides this, I also say that not only can you not keep a good person down, you know, success will come to you, and it will come to you on your own terms. Be honest, be brave. And one of my life philosophies is that it is better to elevate yourself than to bring down another. And that is the message I want to leave you with. Please elevate yourself, don't bring down another. There have been so many other mishaps in life that have happened, but all these mishaps, there is always dawn after the darkest hour. You know, it is so difficult for anyone to imagine. I actually ended up suffering a miscarriage for the simple reason that I refused to give in to some bullies who were forcing me to sign property papers in their name. But I said that there is dawn after darkness, and I know that one day even this dream of mine will come true. I keep telling people that, you know, if you only kept in mind a few life lessons like I did, you know, you would succeed. So here are some life pointers for you. Always be positive. Get rid of the negativity. Remember, the tough times don't last, but tough people do. Look for the positive even in the negative. Be brave. Be honest. Never be down for too much time because, like I said, the tough times do pass. Always be your own special self. Love yourself. Have good friends. Have a good support system. Don't make friends just because you think they can be useful to you. Make friends because you genuinely want to be friends with people. And most importantly, it is better to elevate yourself than bring down another. Remember, I started my life with only 750 rupees, and today I'm proud to be one of India's most successful divorce lawyers, a multi-award winning author, and here I am talking on TEDx. And to all you fabulous people at BITS Pilani and maybe across the world, nothing is impossible. So I wish you all the best for all your dreams to come true, like some of mine have come. And good luck. And remember, God is there for all of us. This is Vandana Shah, author, advocate, signing off, wishing you all the successes and joys in your life.